Namaskar and welcome to this beautiful evening, special evening, because as Anshu mentioned, I have a special connection with the artist K.K. Hebbar. I'm from Bangalore and we used to own Hebbarji as ours because though he lived in Bombay and painted, I was telling Rekha, we kind of had this sense that he was a Kannadiga from Karnataka and he was one of our greatest artists. Long time ago, when I was still a young dancer, a very well-known critic at that time, Shri B.V.K. Shastri, had introduced me to him and had asked me to dance for him, and where he would sketch line drawings, as she mentioned, which he was famous for, which you can see all over the place. And so he sketched me, and I was thrilled. And I must confess, after Anshu asked me to dance, I was going through the Hebbar story and everything, trying to refresh my memory, and I saw the price of those line drawings. I said, I should have at least asked him for one. Maybe it would have saved me today, kind of a thing. But jokes apart, it's a very special evening for me to reconnect with those days, those years of the 80s when I, had the opportunity and the good fortune of performing for K.K. Hebbar. Silappadikaram is a very interesting epic, and I'm going to give you a gist of it because we're not going to be performing obviously the whole thing. It's a huge epic. We're just going to be doing excerpts of it. But I'm just going to give you an outline of the story. I was hoping somebody would do it, but since you didn't do it, Jyotirmoy, I'm going to do that. It is a post-Sangam era, epic. The Sangam era is 2nd century, 3rd century BC to about 3rd century CE. I mean, those a few hundred years. And the rulers at that time were the Cheryans and the Pandyans and the Cholas in the Deccan Plateau. So what a huge, voluminous amount of literature, poetry, dance, music came up, because of the patronage of these kings and the people's own evolution at that particular time. And so the Sangam era is known as the golden period of classical Tamil literature and poetry. And it's important to know that because we're talking of thousands of years ago. There was a little dark period after that, and then Silappadikaram belongs to 5th, 6th century CE. That's what historians, time it to. And Silappadikaram was written very interestingly by a king who abdicated his throne and who became a Jaina monk. It was, it's very interesting to note that while in North India people were converting to Buddhism, in South India all the rulers and others were converting to Jainism. So there was a huge Jaina movement in the south. So Illango Adigal, the author of Silappadikaram, writes this after he abdicates his kingship. And he sits in a monastery and writes this epic. And this epic is about love, it's about relationships, it's about grace, it's about honesty, it's about chastity, it's about truth, it's about justice, it's about righteousness, and it's about how people navigate through life. How did they navigate through life? And what is the righteous conduct, to navigate through life? And what happened during that period, so many thousands of years ago, and how did people live then? Interestingly, for me, there are two women protagonists, female protagonists in this epic. One is Kannagi, the chaste, virtuous wife, who then, gets deified into a goddess kind of a figure when she burns Madurai, the whole city of Madurai down, with her wrath, anguish, her anger, and her sense of righteousness and the fact that injustice has been done to her because of the beheading, the wrongful beheading of her husband. And then there is Madhavi, who's a dancer in the king's court, a beautiful dancer in the king's court, who was well versed in 64 arts. I mean, as most courtesans those days, they were not just courtesans, they were dancers, they were writers, they were poets, they were literatures, they were musicians, they were instrumentalists, and they knew the art of life. And so people actually went to them to learn the art of living and the art of life. So Madhavi was this beautiful dancer who Kovalam, the husband of Kannagi, falls in love with. So look at this Kovalam person. He leaves his beautiful wife Kannagi, chaste, virtuous, loving, giving, everything, and goes and lives with Madhavi, the dancer, for many, many years. He loses all his wealth. I must tell you that both Kannagi and Kovalam come from very wealthy families. Kannagi also and Kovalam, both of them. So Kovalam, while in a relationship with Madhavi, fritters away all his wealth. And because he doesn't work, basically, he's just being wayward and being lazy about things. And he comes back to Kannagi when he can no longer be with Madhavi, right? Because he's ashamed of himself, ashamed that he can't give anymore, can't take care anymore, and he comes back to Kannagi. Kannagi, without questioning, accepts him, right? Accepts him and starts living with him, understands that they're penniless now, they have no money now. So she gives one of her anklets. She has two beautiful gold anklets. So she gives one of her anklets to Kovalam. They lived in a place called Kaveri Patnam. So they moved to the capital city of Madurai. And she gives one anklet to Kovalam and says, go sell this. And from the money that we get from this gold anklet, let us restart our life in Madurai. So we'll start a business, we'll start something so that we can have a livelihood mechanism and so we can restart our life. So she gives it to him. Kovalam goes to Madurai, sells it to a goldsmith. In the meantime, the king's wife, the queen, has lost her anklet. One of her anklets is stolen. So this goldsmith informs the king that it's Kovalam who has stolen the anklet and that he has come here to sell the gold anklet. The king, without questioning, without trial, without any of the processes of justice that we know of or should know of, or what righteousness demands, orders his beheading. So Kovalam is beheaded, wrongfully, thinking that he has stolen the queen's anklet. When Kannagi hears this, she enters Madurai. She enters Madurai with fury, in rage. Now, look at the transformation of Kannagi, a chaste, domesticated wife, virtuous, giving, loving, understanding, accepting, suddenly comes in rage. She's furious. She enters Madurai, and in those days, women did not have the agency to come out of their homes, especially wives. But she comes into the kingdom, enters the palace, confronts the king, Pandyan king. His name was Nedanjaran. And she asks him, how can you behead my husband? And she takes out the other anklet and says, look, this is my anklet. This is my anklet, and you have wrongfully beheaded my husband. This is not the queen's anklet, it's mine. I had two, I gave it to him. They break the anklet, and pearls and rubies come out of the anklet. The queen's anklet was plain, but Kannagi's anklets had pearls and, rubies in them. So when it falls, the king understands that he's made an unforgivable mistake, something that cannot be corrected, a wrong that cannot be righted. And he is in so much anguish and he's so upset about it that he says his scepter, the scepter, those kings had scepter. That is why I think Mr. Modi also brought a scepter from the south. And he built the new parliament because that was a symbol of justice, a symbol of righteousness, symbol of good governance, of how do people in power govern. How do people in power, use their power? Do they use it for the welfare of the people, or are they being wrongly used? The scepter kind of loses shape, and this man falls, and people say, well, anyway, that he kind of just collapsed. But Kannagi's rage doesn't end there. She says, what has happened to me today cannot be forgiven even by Brahma. Even if someone goes to Brahma and tells him that my husband has been beheaded wrongfully, without even a trial, without inquiry, without any due process of law, even Brahma will not forgive him. So if I am chaste, if I am virtuous, if I am who I am, I will burn the city of Madurai down. Let my fury and my anguish burn the city of Madurai. She plucks her left breast, throws it, and the whole of Madurai catches fire. And that beautiful city of Madurai, the capital of the Pandyan Empire, perishes. And Kannagi is deified as a goddess, and there's a statue of Kannagi in Madurai. So this is the story of Kannagi and Kovalan, and it's an epic, a Tamil epic, one of the 5, as you mentioned, and one of the most beautiful, because it has human emotions of love, loss, of justice, of anger, of righteousness, of so many things, and dance. Madhavi's dance is Bhattacharya, right? South Indian dancer. So how to perform dance? What is the area of dance? How do you define the area of dance? How do you sanctify the area of dance? What does the anklet mean? What do all these things mean? So everything has an explanation, including the movement of dance. We've had to earmark this place today because we don't have a formal stage, but for us, Bhumi Devi, that we step on, is a goddess, and we worship Bhumi Devi. And this space of dance is sanctified. I believe when the first Natya, the dance play, happened in Indra's Sabha, the gods and the goddesses were witness to the first Natya. And seeing the people coming and going while the play was going on, they told Yama, go and stand guard there and don't allow anyone to come. So Yama Maharaj was asked to stand guard outside, the stage space to ensure that nobody walked in to disturb the artist. That was the importance that our, culture gave to music and dance. Sridhar Vasudevan is a very accomplished musician. He's a dancer and he's a scholar. Tamil scholar. So I requested him to, help me devise this. We're just going to be doing a few verses from Silappadikaram, because Silappadikaram will take, as a full text will probably take 2.5 hours, and many more dancers and musicians and many more, accoutrements that we need for our dance. So we're just going to be performing a few snippets of Silappadikaram, and as we do it, I will explain what exactly is happening. And since I've already explained the story to you, I'm sure you will understand what it is. I'm not talking about, there are lots of, beautiful paintings here about the city itself. Animals, city, birds, the rivers, canals, the marriage of Kannagi and Kovalan, and his going to Madhavi, the dance of Madhavi. There's so many of them over there. And he falling in love. By the way, Kovalam was also an artist, so therefore he falls in love. That's why there's a thing over there where both of them are playing music, a musical instrument. It's very interesting. So this is what we're going to be presenting today, and it's kind of impromptu, most of it, because we've just spoken and we've kind of met a couple of times and decided what to do. So I hope you will enjoy it. And thank you for the honor of having me here. Thank you so much to the family of KK Hebbar. Thank you Anshu. Thank you Karishma. Thank you Saurabh. Thank you Jyotirmoy. Thank you so much for the honor of inviting me.
மன்னன் பிறந்த ஊரோடும் மன்னன் பிறந்த மன்னன் 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 பிறந்த ஊரோடும் மன்னன் பிறந்த ஊரோடும் செந்நெல் 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 நுகர்க்கும் நெறிய செந்நெல் நுகர்க்கும் செந்நெல் நுகர்க்கும் செந்நெல் நுகர்க்கும் செந்நெல் நுகர்க்கும் நெறிய அன்னம் பரந்த அன்னம் பரந்த அன்னம் 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 பரந்த அருவியில் 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 அன்னம் பரந்த அருவியில் மன்னன் 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 பிறந்த ஊரோடும் 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 மன்னன் மன்னன் பிறந்த ஊரோடும் கண்ணகி 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 குற்றம் குற்றம் கொண்டவனுக்கு குற்றம் கொன்றவனுக்கு நன்றி சொல்லுவான் நான் முகர்க்கே குற்றம் கொண்டவர்க்கு நன்னை சொல்லுவான் நான் முகர்க்கே மன்னல் பிறந்த மன்னல் பிறந்த ஊரோடும் ஊரோடும் மன்னல் பிறந்த ஊரோடும் அன்னம் மலர்ந்த அருவியல் மண்ணில் சென்னல் நுகர்கோ அன்னம் 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 பரந்த அருவியில் 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 கண்ணகி கண்ணகி சொல் நுகர்புக்கு அழிந்ததே பொன்னகர்புக்கு அழிந்ததே நகர்புக்கு அழிந்ததே கண்ணகி 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 அழிந்ததே நகர் கண்ணகி கண்ணகி ஆளுடையார்க்கு 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 போரியும் ஆளுடையார்க்கு பொரியும் கண்ணகி ஆளுடையார்க்கு 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 அரசாளும் நரி நெறி நந்தேரி அரசாட்சி அரசாட்சி கண்ணகி நான் 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 என் கணவர்க்கு தவறாமல் இருந்தேன் என்றார் நான் என் கணவர்க்கு தவறாமல் இருந்தேன் என்றார் என் கணவர்க்கு தவறாமல் இருந்தேன் என்றார் இந்த மதுரையை நான் நெறித்திடுவேன் எரித்திடுவேன் எரித்திடுவேன் அரசாளகம் அரசாட்சியை அரசாளகம் அரசாட்சியை அரசாளகம் அரசாட்சியை நான் எரித்திடுவேன் 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 நான் கண்ணகி நான் கண்ணகி